Shalom Israel. First and foremost, as always, I would like to give all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Wachaha Kwadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four corners of the earth, pushing His truth and sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai's return, and double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. And I wanted to do an early morning podcast. The spirit is on me to start doing podcasts. So as you can see, I'm on a public bus right now. I'm on a public bus, and I'm on my way to downtown Niagara for some other business. So on my way to downtown Niagara Falls. I thought this would be a good time to do a podcast and bring out some edification. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was what IUIC did down in Kenya. And first off, I wanted to say going to Kenya was a stupid idea. And the reason why I say that is because the main awakening is going to take place here in the United States of America, which is known as Babylon the Great. Okay, this country is where the main awakening is going to occur. Okay, most of the Lord's elect is going to be here in Babylon, that great city which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. Okay, so we was never commanded to get on ships or airplanes and to go to different countries or continents and preach the gospel. Okay, otherwise in the book of Job, Job basically made a statement. He said, "Shall the unicorn serve thee?" Now, when the Job said the unicorn, he was not talking about some mystical white horse with a drill on his forehead. Okay, the unicorn is a metaphor, a dark saying for the satellites. Okay. Now, if you carefully look at a satellite dish, you got the dish, of course, but usually in the center of the satellite, what do you have? You have the horn, or the horn feed. Some nerds call it the horn feed, and the horn feed is basically how the satellite dish is able to transmit internet signals from the building basically to the satellite in outer space, or to the towers, the internet towers, cell towers, whatever you want to call it, to the satellites in outer space. This is how having internet all throughout the country, and especially all throughout the world, is possible. It is possible through the satellite dishes, which have the horn feeds in the center of the dish, which allows internet to be throughout the whole globe.
Now approaching 63rd Street.
Shall the unicorn serve thee? Which was a question asked by Job, right? To the Lord, right? Shall the unicorn serve thee? The unicorn is a dark saying for the satellite dish, which makes it possible for internet to be all throughout the whole globe. And, you know, like our apostles and elders of Great Millstone always say, okay, the internet is what's going to do the heavy lifting, okay? The Heavenly Father set up the internet so that this truth can go throughout the four corners of the earth, fulfilling prophetic statements which was made by Yahweh in the book of Matthew and Luke, when he said that this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, then shall the end come, okay? Brothers down there in Europe did not wake up to the truth because, you know, men who knew this truth took a plane over there to Europe and started teaching. No, men in Europe woke up to this truth through the internet, okay? I was one of the brothers who woke up to the truth through the internet because there was nobody out there teaching where I was at, you know? I woke up through the internet, you know, through the LA brothers, okay? And I'm pretty sure there's many brothers that are a part of Great Millstone who can vouch for me, who would tell you that they woke up through, you know, seeing certain videos of Great Millstone through YouTube, and not just YouTube, but other outlets such as Daily Motion, you know,
Now approaching 56th
Odyssey is another one. Brothers down there in Germany, brothers down there in you know, the islands like Hawaii, Trinidad, they woke up through the internet, okay? You know, brothers who know this truth down there in China woke up to this truth through the internet. So there's no need for us to get on planes or ships and go to other countries in order to preach this gospel, okay? The internet is what's going to allow this gospel to travel throughout the four corners of the earth. So, you know, it was basically a pointless move on the behalf of the IUIC to
now approaching Hyde Park
go to
Boulevard.
Kenya and teach. Okay. And for the most part, okay, Kenya is predominantly inhabited by Hamites. Now, do you have Israelites living amongst them in Kenya? Absolutely. Okay, but obviously you can see they are stuck in their ways. They don't want to hear what you members of IUIC have to say. Okay, you got one side in Kenya that believe in Islam, and then you have another side in Kenya that's hardcore into Christianity. And when we say Christianity, we're not talking about, you know, Christianity as in, you know, believing in a brown-skinned Messiah and, you know, a brown-skinned God. No, those Kenyanites down there in Kenya who call themselves Christians, they believe in a so-called white Jesus. That's what they believe in. Okay, so they is through out there, man. They through out there. You know? Now, is it possible for there to be elect members down there? Maybe. The Lord knows. But only time will tell. pretty much preaching to the choir. When you go to downtown Niagara, you know, I mean not downtown Niagara, when you go to Kenya to teach, man. Okay, we are commanded to go out to the highways and hedges. Okay, if the Lord sent your spirit down to Babylon the Great, which is the United States of America, when you was born, then this is where you ought to be if you wake up to this truth when it comes to preaching and pushing this gospel. You're supposed to, you know, you're supposed to be out there on the streets here in Babylon teaching. Now the brothers wake up throughout, you know, different countries. That's a beautiful thing. Don't get me wrong, you know, that's a beautiful thing. But we are to stay here in Babylon, okay? Because Babylon is where, you know, the majority of the prophets are going to wake up at. So I don't want to make this podcast any longer. I pray and hope that this video was edifying through the hopeful members of the elect out there, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rahaha Kwadash. With that, I'm going to say Shalom. Is on to the next one.